So, special ammo changes just rolled in for 3v3. You don't spawn with special ammo at the beginning of a game anymore. This applies to 2v2 as well, as we learned with Crimson Doubles. At first, I thought this was going to be a really good change. No special at the beginning means you gotta fight with primaries first. It's not just sniping or shotgunning right off the bat. When you hear it, your first thought is probably, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now that it's actually implemented, maybe not as good as previously thought. Before I start, I'll say that I haven't played Skirmish or Salvage yet, but I imagine the problem isn't nearly as bad in those game modes as it is in Elimination. Those modes last a much longer amount of time per match, and the beginning of a match doesn't always set the pace for the rest of it. There's a lot of back and forth that goes on, so the first minute isn't as big of a deal. The problem feels like it mainly lies with Elimination or Trials. I'll use the example of Crimson Doubles, but this basically applies for Trials as well. So in Trials, the way you normally end up getting special ammo is right after a round ends, right? You kill everyone, and then you immediately start heading for the box of special ammo. This is what happens a pretty large majority of the time. Normally, both teams start with special, but now no one does. By winning your first set and getting to that special ammo, that gives you an advantage, and a somewhat significant advantage at that. Similarly, if you lose the round, then you're at a big disadvantage, mainly because you don't really have many counterplay options. If someone gets in your face with a shotgun, then you're pretty much out of luck. This, in turn, can lead to a snowball effect of winning or losing depending on what side you're on, and can lead to campy gameplay. The team that's losing desperately wants special ammo, so they end up camping for it. The team that's winning can be more aggressive or more tactical because they have other options available to them in terms of weapons. Let's face it, having special ammo versus not having special ammo is kind of a big deal. On top of that, I'm sure some of you have noticed the resurgence of Icebreaker and Invective, although more so Icebreaker, to get around this new issue entirely. Not only that, but there are ways to circumvent not starting with special. So the change just ends up leading people to abuse certain mechanics, I don't want to say exploit because most people won't, just to get around the change. The best case scenario is that people wait 30 seconds for special before they engage, which makes it feel like nothing has changed and encourages camping or campy behavior. The worst case scenario is that people use less than kosher methods to abuse getting special ammo or having a team snowball out of control because they are able to get special and the other team is not. I'm with you to a degree that, hey, if you're not winning, then tough luck, you're not getting special, get good, etc. To a degree. But in practice, the special ammo changes might need some more tweaking for Elimination. How can you make this a little bit better? You can make it so that in Trials, you start with a little less special ammo than normal, say 3 or 4 shots instead of the 6 or 7 you normally get. This way, if you happen to lose that first round, you still have some special available to be able to stay in the game. I get that if a series goes 1-1, things basically turn back to normal though. Moving on, Crimson Days, it's here for a few more days. I was surprised at how much stuff there was going to be to do in that there's not really a lot. I was expecting something along the lines of Festival of the Lost, it wasn't huge or anything, but there were a bunch of small things in there. Crimson Days is a quest and 6 bounties. Obviously, the biggest positive of the mode is the Broken Heart buff. The Broken Heart buff is a very fun buff to have because it gives you an experience you don't normally get and allows for some cool plays to happen. Unfortunately, Crimson Doubles has brought out some of the worst in Destiny PvP. Thorns are everywhere, parties of 2 Sunsinger Warlocks with Firebolt Viking Funeral Nades, Icebreaker is here with the special ammo changes. Whatever BS that you normally hate for regular PvP is probably in Crimson Doubles twofold. The entire experience can be really sweaty, and by sweaty, if you're not familiar with the term, I mean intense, try hard, whatever you want to call it. Now, is this a problem with the game mode itself? No. It's a problem with the meta, which I'm not really going to go into in this video. I don't mean it to sound as bad as I think I'm making it sound, but for those of you who want to try out Crimson Doubles, maybe try playing a little earlier in the day. That goes for almost everyone. Beyond that, we have ghost shells as rewards, couple of shaders, and an emblem. People are disappointed because many people seem to not like playing only for fun, they need incentive. The problem is that the fun just simply isn't there as much because Crimson Doubles can bring out the worst in Destiny PvP. I was not expecting this event to be giving away a lot of 320s, and I hope people did not have that expectation. I was not expecting this event to be a major source of content, and I hope people didn't have that expectation. However, people seem to think that Bungie was hyping this up to be a significant content update, and I don't think that was communicated well, or a lot of people just didn't understand what was going on, and this was just going to be a small thing. Going into the future, as much as this might be weird to say, these little events might want to just be introduced as a surprise. People really like to think that an update to the game, an update that comes to Destiny, is going to provide a ton of stuff, and that's obviously not the case with every single update. Anything huge that might be coming, yeah, let us know. But something like Crimson Days might have been a little better received had people not been expecting it or set up false or higher expectations for it, regardless of who set up those expectations. Is it enough to keep us occupied for a while? Absolutely not. But it was never intended to be, and that's where I think some of this frustration stems from within the community. These little mini events, SRL, Festival of the Lost, Crimson Days, they're not designed to be these super engaging experiences, these super in-depth experiences, even though we as the community really want them to be because we're so desperate for something new. If we had more stuff to do, Crimson Days probably would have been pretty well received as what it's designed to be, which is a cute little thing for Valentine's Day. But because we're in this drought, people just end up saying, that's it? So, yeah, not really sure where I was going with that. However, I played a couple of hours of Crimson Doubles on Tuesday and got more than enough of my fill of it. I don't really have much desire to go into a game mode where I'll be fighting people using every single piece of BS this game has to offer. Thorn, Last Word, Viking Funeral. I really don't need that nonsense right now. But once again, that's not the game mode's fault. If you happen to get past all of the nonsense of that and find some good games, then I think the game mode itself is really fun, and the Broken Heart buff adds a cool dynamic to 2v2. I had a lot of fun playing with Leopard on Tuesday. We had some good games, had some not so good games, but overall, if you can find those good ones, then it's fun, but it just doesn't feel like there's enough of them. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the special ammo changes and Crimson Days. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.